It is going up forever. Hey, I just got off a podcast with Samson Mow. Guys, literally orange pill and nation states. We dove right into the Amiga candle. I've got some lunch, eat, Bitcoin, repeat. One's frozen, one's defrosted. I thought I had enough in the fridge, which I didn't, so it works all right. It's not ideal, but I want to just talk a little bit about the conversation that I had with Samson Mow. I also had a really fascinating conversation this morning with Kyle Murphy, the Bitcoin bum. He was in the Bitcoiners movie. If you haven't seen that documentary, I'd highly recommend you do. Really deep conversation. Kyle was a combat medic and really dove into his lived experience going through that, coming out the other side, and how Bitcoin leads to a better world for the individuals and, you know, for the collective human. Let me chuck these in the rubbish bin. So that podcast will be coming out soon. I've just gotten off that podcast with Samson Mow. We dove really, really deep and took the conversation down some different tangents that hadn't been asked of Samson. I need some salt. Pink Himalayan sea salt. The flavour of gods. But talking to Samson, one of the questions that I wanted to know is, what's it like orange pilling people? Because in my own life, I have a hard enough. So I'll say this. I've gone down the rabbit hole and put thousands and thousands of hours into Bitcoin. Anyone here, we understand Bitcoin more than the general population. But with all the proof of work that I've done, it took me 4 years to orange pill my mum. Finally I did, which was absolutely amazing. But that was a difficult conversation. Even to a lesser extent, but it still happened. It took a while with my wife as well to be able to orange pill her. So I asked Samson, what's it like orange pilling at the highest levels of government? And he said, yeah, it's pretty hard work. But I'll save that for the podcast. And then I talked about the Amiga candle, because Samson's always talking about this Amiga candle. Is one of the things that he's known for, that he's famous for. And I'm like, do you actually believe yourself when you're saying this? $100,000 in one day. And the thing is, he does. He truly believes it. And after talking to him, I still don't know if we get it, in the next year or not. But the Amiga's coming. I'm 100% convinced of it now, after talking to Samson. We've already had God candles or Godzilla candles, whatever you want to call them. That's a 10,000 candle in one day. And for the last 12, 18 months, been talking about $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 days to the up and to the downside. Well, we had two to the upside here in Australia last week. Going back maybe 2 months, we had a $10,000 day to the downside. So that's sort of already here. And then so I asked him when. He's like, oh, I can't answer that. But it's coming. And then we're talking about this conversation, especially with Peter Schiff's losing his absolute marbles over it. The US selling gold for Bitcoin. Hearing what Samson had to say, it is the smartest move. It's really the only move worth making. It's the correct decision to make. Samson lays out all the reasons why for it, but absolutely fascinating. I wasn't really sure how I thought about that, but it's a good way to stay the global superpower, that's for sure. And a couple of other things. I just went into his journey, what he finds interesting. One really amazing answer to the question that I asked, and the question that I asked was, if Bitcoin becomes this global reserve currency, which we all believe it will, when, who knows, but eventually, sooner, suddenly, slowly then suddenly, sooner rather than later, it's going to happen. But what do you fear if that happens? Mind-blowing. That's something to be able to stay tuned for. I'll try to get this one out as quick as possible. I've got a lot of podcasts coming out over the next 2-3 weeks. So if you haven't already, hit subscribe for those. Lawrence Lepard video is uploading at the moment. Channel members, that should be there now for everyone. Got a lot of podcasts. Channel members, you'll get it get it first, but they'll roll out for everyone over the next couple of weeks. Some really high level conversations. And then this afternoon I've got Eric Dale coming on. We'll talk about bubbles. Definitely. We'll dive into a very philosophical side of Bitcoin. But all the conversations I've been having lately is, in one way or another, related to fix the money, fix the world. We're in such a unique time in human history, and we're still so early. And knowing that we're early, but Bitcoin's already at $100,000 USD, it's pretty insane. And the reason why, at least me, I talk about price, it's a marketing tool. It brought me into the space at the start. It brings so many people in, and it's these higher prices that we're getting at the moment that are going to continue to bring more and more people in. But what I'm finding real interesting at the moment is it doesn't really seem like mum and papa here. You know, the Uber driver, the hairdressers, they're not here yet. And we're at $100,000, which is pretty bloody bittersweet. You know, I live in fear that the price is going to go up forever. I'm still stacking sats. I live in hope that we're going to get a bit of a dip. But I also fear for my friends, my family, acquaintances, for all of humanity, that unfortunately they're going to get Bitcoin at the price they deserve. And that's hard, because it is only going up and to the right. Another thing that we dived into with Samson, he pushed back hard against me with it, was whether we've still got these 4-year cycles or we're in a super cycle. And I won't spoil it, but what he said stopped me. Is fundamentally changed the way that I believe about those cycles and what's happening there. Really incredible the way that he laid it out. But like, what's the catalyst? What brings them in? Yeah, we've had so many bullish catalysts. Like, I'm not into the ETFs myself. I can see the purpose for some people, sure, like that's fine. Buy it, whatever way you can get exposure to Bitcoin and then go down the rabbit hole, that's great. But Larry Fink, like the largest capital allocator or largest assets under management through BlackRock in the world, coming out saying Bitcoin's a flight to quality. And then we've got all these banks saying that like, even put the banks aside, like the banks are turning very bullish, given like insane price predictions and things like that. But Jerome Powell, Papa Powell, is saying Bitcoin's more like digital gold. And then Russia and Vladimir Putin saying you can't stop it. And then like the strategic reserve asset, El Salvador, Bitcoin legal tender, they've got it as a treasury reserve asset. You know, we've got ETFs here in Australia and stuff. Bullish catalyst after bullish catalyst after bullish catalyst. Yet people are still asleep. They still think it's a scam. They still think it's magic internet money. Or it's too expensive, and we're only at, what $1.98 trillion market cap. How do we change that conversation? How do we get them to understand that, yeah, we're at 100,000, but next stop is $1 million. And then it's 10 million, like, it's literally just math. It's just number go up technology. And like, the biggest shift for me is I believe Bitcoin was going to 1 million, then it was going to 10 million. Convinced of it. But it wasn't until we actually hit $100,000, we saw that in reality, that I knew it for a fact. Now I know without question that we are going there. When? No idea. Nor do I care. Hopefully slowly. But unfortunately it's probably going to be pretty sudden when we look back. And that scares me, because again, people are only going to get Bitcoin at the price they deserve. I believe everyone needs Bitcoin. How do we... Samson said it so many times, like, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. How do we make the horses drink? How do we make them drink from the fire hose of Satoshi to realize that Bitcoin is the answer to all their economic problems when you hold it over time? It's a better store of value, so it makes savings great again, which is absolutely insane. Can't be confiscated, cannot be debased. It's deflationary, not inflationary like the stuffed up financial system, unconfiscatable. Do you have like any orange pill tips tricks? Is there a way that you've found, like, here's the Bitcoin switch, flick, and they just light up and they get it and they smash buying and they keep smash buying, and then it dips and they buy even more and more and more? Like, I feel like that takes a couple of 1,000 hours to be able to get to. That's what happened for me. But how can we, like, accelerate that? Because Bitcoin adoption is accelerating so quickly at such a staggering rate. And it's just going to get more and more and more expensive. And, you know, anyone holding Bitcoin at any time is going to win if they hold it for long enough. But I want more people to win bigger, way bigger. I don't know. Let us know if you've got any tips on that. It'd be greatly appreciated to hear your tips, because that's my biggest fear, is Bitcoin's just going to run away from us and it's going to start running really quick, really hard. Do we get 1 million this cycle? Do the cycles even exist? I don't know anymore. But I am convinced that this thing's going to move pretty bloody quick. And, like, if you don't believe me, all we need to do is look at the last 15, 16 years. Went from $0 to over $100,000 US in 16 years. Like, what? That's crazy. This S-curve adoption that we're about to go into, all the models are broken. They're all stuffed. They're helpful. I don't know if you've got any tips, because I don't want people to be broke. I don't want them to go through the chaos as the financial system collapses and the worlds collapse. I want people to live the Bitcoin standard. If you've got any tips, tricks, resources, anything that help. Maybe you frame the conversation in a positive way or a negative way. Let us know, and let's orange pill the world. Quicker, harder, faster. Because I think the time is now. Maybe we're not on the edge of total financial ruin and chaos for so many people, but I think we are. And I hope I'm wrong, but I'm preparing that I'm right. Anyway, be blessed. This is a quick one. We've got some cool podcasts coming out. We'll see you soon. Again, hit subscribe if you haven't already. Eat beef, eat meat, Bitcoin repeat. If you enjoy meat, if you don't, and just enjoy clean, healthy food, sun. It's all gravy, baby. Peace.